Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Live in Italy Magazine's YouTube channel. If you love Italian food, and who doesn't love Italian food, you will not want to miss today's interview. I am super excited to welcome Vincenzo and Suzanne Prosperi of the very, very popular YouTube channel, Vincenzo's Plate. And I have to say, yes, welcome. And I have to say that the reason why, and I'm sure that so many of our readers are thinking the same thing, that I love this channel is because it has given me an opportunity to learn how to construct simple meals in a very authentic way and build that connection to Italy. I think a lot of us, especially in North America, have been making Italian food or the preparation of it just too complicated. So if you are interested in an authentic connection, you really need to get to know Vincenzo's channel. So we're going to talk to them both about building this successful channel, which has just exceeded, congratulations, 1.02 million subscribers. Never mind his following on Instagram and TikTok, which has, I don't know a lot of you, but to me, that is Foodie Central. Anyway, my name is Lisa Morales, and I am the editor of Live in Italy magazine, a travel and lifestyle publication dedicated to all things Italy. So welcome.
Thank you so much. What an introduction.
Wow.
Well, I'm just...
I like the way you talk.
Thank you. Thank you. I am just in so much admiration. This is our 2-year anniversary issue, and you are the perfect candidate for this celebration of ours.
It's a privilege to be here today. Thank you for inviting us.
So we're gonna start pretending that no one knows who both of you are, which I doubt that's the case, actually. But please, Vincenzo, let's start with you. Where were you born?
I was born in a city called Pescara in Italy, where we are today. And I was born, you know the age? I'm 38. I was born in 1983. And I was lucky to grow up with great-grandparents, grandparents, my parents. So big family, and surrounded by food and happiness.
Excellent. And of course, it looks beautiful. And I believe Abruzzo, they say, is green Italy, right?
It is the green Italy, yes.
Yes.
It's a beautiful region to visit, like everywhere else in Italy, like everywhere else in the world. Traveling is the best thing to do, and this is a destination that you need to add in your map.
Excellent. And what about you, Suzanne?
So I was born in Sydney. You can immediately tell by the accent that I'm definitely not from Italy. Right. I was born in Sydney, Australia.
Okay. And I think the most logical question is how you live more permanently in Australia, right? So how did you get there? I mean, Vincenzo, I guess.
I went to Australia for, when I was 24, it used to be a working holiday visa. So it was like an experience to be there, and my plan was not to stay there.
Yeah, it was supposed to be short-term experience.
I went there, to be honest, for 3 weeks of vacation, and then I liked it, and I decided to extend it to 1 year, and then I met Suzanne, and I've been on vacation for 16 years now.
I don't know about vacation anymore.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, life can change with a vacation,
Of course. And I think we're more relaxed and more open to opportunities and experiences. So that's wonderful. So the rest is history, right?
Yeah, Australia is a great country. It has a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, pretty much.
Australia has everything you need, There are so much food, there's so many nationalities, so many cuisines, so many things to explore every day. And yeah, it is the future. So we're happy to live there.
Well, it looks beautiful. I've never been. But it sounds like an amazing place. So growing up then, Vincenzo, I believe, what was your career path?
My career was in, I don't know if you ever heard about Club Med. I was working in a five-star resort, and we used to entertain the crowd. We used to have 2,000 guests coming weekly. So one group comes, and they go, another group come, and our job was to entertain. So I was the manager of this group, this team of 40, 50 people. It's like if you go on a cruise, you have entertainment there. Yeah.
And you're talking about Club Med in Australia?
In Italy.
Oh, in Italy. Oh, I had
North
no
Africa,
idea. Wow.
Turkey. Yeah, it's an Italian Club Med. And that was fun. So that's where I learned how to be on stage, entertaining people, trying to make people laugh.
Well, that's where you found your passion, I guess, for doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've done some acting, I see.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, thanks to Suzanne.
Yes. Yeah, I looked at your, I think is it IDMB profile.
Oh.
So we'll get into that. So let us talk first about Susanna. What was your professional background, I guess, prior to the channel, prior to Vincenzo?
So I have a degree in journalism, but I took the path of public relations kind of instead. I really enjoy writing, but I loved PR. So I was in the fashion world for many years, doing PR, e-commerce, marketing, running events, styling, the whole kind of gamut. So that was
pretty full on for many years. And then when we met, you were in fashion.
Yeah,
So
I was.
yeah, you took a detour from entertaining and went into fashion, and we both had that career path for a little while. But yeah, my focus was really digital marketing and e-commerce before, I guess, Vincenzo's play to life. So yeah, that's my background and definitely part of my passion.
Yeah, and then from there, I guess, before we get into your channel, so you've been married for how many years then?
Since 9 years. 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah, it was 9 years in June. But we've been together for 15 years. So
yes,
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have any children?
Yes, we do. We have one beautiful little boy, Sebastian, who just turned 2.
Yeah.
Here in Italy.
Wow.
So that was wonderful to be able to celebrate his birthday here after not being able to come to Italy. Because yeah, he's our COVID baby. So he didn't get to meet any of the family or visit Italy until he was 20 months when we came here. Was he 20? Yeah, 20 months he was when we got here. So finally got to meet everyone. And yeah, that was really obviously very emotional, but a really wonderful time. It's been incredible finally having him here with family and friends and just visiting, well, you know, Vincenzo's home.
Right. And the thing is, watching your channel, I think, you know, even if we, and we'll talk about your tours later too, even if we don't take a tour, I mean, you've been so generous about inviting people into your family home that way. And really, again, like that connection, not just to Italy, but also to that family element. And you speak about that so strongly, Vincenzo.
Thank you. Yeah,
very
it's really
happy.
important. Family is very important, you know, and I know families are changing, the future is changing. It can't be like it used to be 50 years ago. Everyone is busy, but it is important to remind everyone how important family is. Even if you don't have a family, use your best friends are family, you know, like your friends use you all the time. So it is important to be together, connect together, and have someone, you know, to spend quality time with. And food brings everyone together.
Yes, definitely. You know,
and for us, it's just that feeling of community. That's, you know, that's really what family is. And we want our little guy, Sebastian, to grow up understanding the importance of a very simple meal at a table with loved ones. And then taking that time out to connect rather than kind of, you know, obviously everybody's really busy, but that's what Nonna always kind of reminds us of. She's happiest when we're literally, you know, we could just be sitting down at the table
having a slice of bread. I mean, she'd never let us do that, but it would have to be a little bit more of an elaborate meal. But that's, that's that connection. And for me, having grown up with a family that also have Italian origins, but not in Italy, we grew up with that same mentality. But that really, I was able to see that come to life so much more, even more so in, with families here. But it's definitely being lost a little bit along the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Sunday family lunch.
Of
You
course.
don't necessarily see that as much, but we like to, any day can be a Sunday lunch as long as you have some time, simple food, good ingredients, quality ingredients.
Yes.
And just enjoying one another's company, having a good conversation.
The Sunday lunch for the family is something that nonni who lived through the war, who lived through the poverty, that's what their dream was. Having a family, having a big family around the table, eating together. And in fact, in the old days, some people used to even share the dish in the middle of the table. That they used to put, for example, here in Abruzzo, there's a tradition in some cities, towns, where they put a polenta on the chopping board, and everyone go with a spoon and share and eat. So for nonni, for that generation, having a big table with a lot of food, wine, for them is like, it means wealth, being a billionaire, being, Nonna doesn't need a Ferrari, she doesn't care. She wants people on the table eating. When us new generations probably forgot how important it is. So we need to find a balance in life.
Of course. And I think, the crux of the magazine is the people that we've spoken to who have moved to Italy, is that's what they're missing. Because if they have an opportunity to kind of reclaim that or learn from that, it's not necessarily that they're moving to Italy and there's all this family around, but definitely to get back to basics, because I love what you say about it being wealth. So what about your passion for food, Vincenzo? Where did that come from? Obviously you've built skills over the years, but did that start in the family home?
When I was here, I was never be able to cook. In fact, I'm in Italy for 4 months. I can't really cook much because my nonna is in charge. Then we got my dad and my mom. So they'll only allow me to make something that they don't make, Not part of something is not in their books. You can't compete with Nonna, No, I started watching. I grew up around food. Like I said, my great-grandmothers, I met 2 great-grandmothers, 2 great-grandfathers. And that was amazing, to be able to see them. And then see my grandmother's cooking all the time. I've got 2 grandmothers and there's different specialties. I used to watch my grandmother making pasta every Sunday morning after the church. All her friends from church would go to her house. She would be making pasta. All the friends were around her, gossiping. And I was there, little, playing with one toy and the pasta. I was always eating fresh pasta that she would be making, raw. I remember those moments. So I was always there with Nonna, watching her, always. And trying a food. And for me, food has always been the best because that's what I'm used to, And growing up here, I always explored food from different regions, from different parts of Italy. Then traveling the world, I enjoyed more food even more because I believe traveling is eating. So when I go somewhere, I want to eat local flavors. I'm not going to Cuba to eat Italian food. Right. I want to have Cuban food. If I go to Singapore, I want to have Singaporean food. And that's what's beautiful. So exploring. So I learn more about the cultures. And that's the passion. That's where it started. When I moved to London, I was 20 years old. And I was struggling in London because it was not easy to find my food. I was able to find different cuisines, but I also wanted to eat my food. So I would be calling my mom, my grandmother, and say, "Hey, Nonna, please, can we make this together?" So she says, "Go and buy the ingredients and call me when you have all the ingredients.
When you're ready to prep."
I go back home with the ingredients. Okay, so what do we do now? And she will tell me, "You do this, you do this, you do this." So we will spend hours and hours on the phone cooking together, And that's the real story. So, and then eventually
Wow.
you learn, and I work in restaurants, and you learn at the restaurant
Right.
techniques. Family food has been better than restaurants. And then here we are today, still learning, because every day we learn something new.
Of course. Yeah, that's just the beauty, I think, of food. And I love what you say about traveling. I really personally identify with that. It's really important to get to know the culture, and what a better way to do it. So, Suzanne, do you speak Italian?
Yes, I do. I say I speak my Italian now because we've been coming back for so many years that I think everyone's just adapted to the mistakes that I make, and some of probably the dialect that I try to mix in there sometimes when I talk to Nonna. But yeah, so we lived in Pescara after not even 12 months, I think, of dating when we were much, much younger, for almost 12 months. And so I had no choice. No one spoke English when I got here. Right. I like to communicate. It was really important to be able to talk. So,
especially a PR background.
Yes, exactly. So I spent lots of time with family and friends, and I tried to study a little bit, but the grammar was just really tricky. So I ended up just talking. In a couple of months, I figured it out, more or less. Do you think it was a couple of months?
Well, in 2 months, she became the gnocchi queen.
Yeah, definitely.
So much time with Nonna. And basically, she learned all Nonna's tricks. Tricks I don't even know.
Right.
Nonna passed those tricks and skills to Suzanne so she can carry on in the family.
Yeah.
That's how they spoke. That was their language.
Yeah, we exactly. Together. We spoke through because I wasn't working. Obviously, if I couldn't speak the language when we got here, there wasn't remote working back then. And so I just figured it out along the way. Lots of time in the kitchen with Nonna, that's true. Making lots and lots of gnocchi, lots of different dishes, but my favorite are gnocchi, so we spent a lot of time doing that.
So you speak food Italian, essentially.
Yeah. Suzanne's food Italian. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the first things we've taught Sebastian, so I guess it's going to be part of a family tradition now for us too.
I love
Those first words are surrounded by food.
Of course. Wow, that's the best language. The language of food. So what about your son? How is that going to work? Do you speak both languages in the home, or are you just trying to focus more on Italian now?
No, so I guess when he was first born, he was surrounded a lot more by English because he was born in Australia, but we were always doing like FaceTime or video calls with family back here. So that was always in Italian. No one speaks English, so he's always heard Italian. But when he first started talking, which was pretty early on, really, for him, I guess he takes after both of us. So he started talking really early. It was always in English. We tried to mix in words with Italian to see, in hope that he'd understand. But as soon as we got to Italy, I think it took him 4 weeks and he completely transitioned to only speaking Italian. So now he just speaks Italian, but we still keep, I speak to him in both English and Italian. He still understands English. I mean, he's really little. He's only 2.
Right.
He talks a lot. So I speak in English. He'll respond in Italian. And he knows some funny words as well that like with these expressions have started already, which we think is quite hilarious to kind of watch unfold. So
it's funny how your brain works, because in Australia we always spoke English. We did say, we're trying to speak Italian at home, but you're always surrounded by English speakers that you start to forget. I remember I used to speak Spanish and Portuguese because in London I used to work with Spanish speakers, Portuguese speakers. Went to Australia, forgot completely. I only know a few words now. So in Australia, I was forgetting Italian too. Then we come here and we say to Suzanne, okay, so we speak English at home and Italian outside. We did it for the first month, and now our brain is switched to Italian. Yeah. So basically, everywhere we go, we speak Italian. Nobody speaks English, and we speak Italian all the time. So we're never able to say we speak English in the house, Italian outside.
And I think that's okay. I think we tried to make rules around it. And initially, I was going to always speak English, and Vincenzo was going to always speak Italian to Sebastian. But for us, I think the fact that we're sometimes in Australia and sometimes in Italy means that, and we're always always talking with family and friends in both countries, he'll always be exposed to both languages. And I think that for us is most important. For me growing up, you know, I didn't speak Italian. I was surrounded by a little bit of dialect, but we always spoke to my grandparents in English, even though they speak English very well. You know, it was very broken. I don't want that for Sebastian. We want him to be able to speak and communicate in both languages. And so far, we're having lots of fun.
It sounds like it's going to happen naturally, though, because you'll be spending time in both countries.
Kind of funny. Yeah.
It's always good to know more languages than one, you know?
Yes, of course. Yes. So let's get into your channel. So like I mentioned at the beginning, you just surpassed 1.02. I put it originally in my notes 1.01, and then I checked last night, it's 1.02 million subscribers. That is just amazing. So congratulations.
So precise. Thank you.
I do my homework. I try. So how did that feel?
It feels good. It feels really good. Feels good because you know, you have a channel, you start the channel, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where it's going, you do it because, you know, it's your passion. You say, are people gonna like what I do? Maybe not. Where are we gonna go? And then you get 10,000 and you say, okay, wow, okay, maybe we're doing something good. Then you get 100,000 and you say, oh, okay, wow, well, now I think we're really, you know, we have lots of friends now that were listening. And then, of course, your goal is 1 million, and it's beautiful. Like it's one of the best rewards that we got in life. 1 million doesn't mean $1 million. Okay, no.
No. I've talked about that with other people. Like there's a big illusion of like YouTube and how much money you're gonna make.
No, because people say, "Oh, so you made $1 million?" No, $1 million. It's 1 million people that basically want to listen to you or appreciate what you do.
Of course.
Incredible. 1 million people it's a town, a city, you know, it's
of course. It's a world actually, because I'm sure you're just getting viewers from just all over the place.
All over the world. And it's beautiful. Honestly, it's the best. You can touch the feeling of people from anywhere. You know, it could be a remote town in Brazil, or it could be a popular town in China. No, China not, because they're not on YouTube, but Japan, Japan, and it's.
But I think it's made us realize that the world is a lot smaller than sometimes we make out to, and I think that social media is, you know, a big part of that.
Of course,
it's definitely been able to help us create a community that we, I don't know, really only had dreamt of. We never set out thinking that we would have 1 million, or you would have 1 million subscribers. I think it was just, it is that cliche story. We just started for a bit of a laugh. People were asking us for recipes. They'd come over for dinner. We loved entertaining. You know, it was very much, let's just put a video on YouTube. It wasn't, let's put a video on YouTube and let's make a schedule and I mean, it's very different now. Now that's definitely the case, but it wasn't at the beginning. I think when you hit like 10,000, probably that was the first time we went, like people are kind of listening, but we were still, you know, we were still both in full-time jobs. There's something on the side. Sometimes I would very poorly be filming you, and I'd get in lots of trouble for the wrong angles, but we never thought we'd get to 1 million.
No.
So it might be good to point out, because, you know, I had to do a lot of scrolling back. So when did you begin? What year was it?
We started
officially
in 2014.
2014.
It was early 2014, or maybe December 2013.
Yeah, it was like 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I wanted to be prepared. We filmed 50 videos from August to November.
Yeah, that's
I think
crazy.
We just filmed so many videos, like 50 videos, edit everything, so we were able to launch videos, you know, like be ready to launch.
Yeah, that was
right.
Next.
Because of the full-time job, we said,
I
won't be able to film every week with a full-time job. So let's be prepared, and then I can keep filming. There was kind of an organization behind, not
There was, but it wasn't like we set out to have this as a channel as the, you know, the core of our business.
No. It was like more
just to keep content going.
Yeah.
Right.
Hoping that someone would watch it
And
and enjoy it.
I never wanted to do so, but having an acting experience, being on set, seeing how the filming is done, I never wanted to record a video with a phone or unprofessionally and launch. I always wanted to have a clean shot, food porn shots. Like when I say food porn, like having a nice shot
Right.
that make you lick the screen, and stuff like that. So I have no experience with the camera. Now I do a little bit more, but back then I always needed a cameraman to help. So
Right.
I can't just call a cameraman and say, hey, come over, we film. So it had to be organized.
Right.
But then you learn how to shoot, how to record, what angle. There are so many things to learn. And I think YouTube is the best place to learn yourself.
But there's
how
been,
to do things.
There's been, moments of change. Like, you've stopped posting we went through periods where we stopped posting and we thought, we don't know if this is the right way to go. Remember?
Unfortunately, you do.
Because sometimes, the social media side of things can burn you out as well.
Of course.
So I think that the really neat thing is that so many of your original followers kept following and kept being really, really positive about this journey. And, we always wanted to make sure that we would stay really authentic and really true to what we wanted to be presenting. And I think that's been the key for us. But now it's different, like probably the last 3 years, maybe.
Well, before, basically, when we were growing, it was a bit disappointing when I would be launching a recipe that I was working on for so long, a family recipe or a non-famous recipe. And then you upload it and you get 800, 900 views, maybe over 1,000, but you say, okay, I see other videos where they're not even done right, not to judge someone, but, not even done right, they get 1 million views. And I'm showing you something different, to teach you something different. And then I was at that point where you say, okay, we were not organized with videos like before because of what we were doing. So we were trying to create videos weekly, and that's hard. And at the same time, we're trying to show people something new they never heard of. And they were not getting traction. They were not getting anywhere. So you start to think, okay, maybe it's not appreciated, or I don't know. Things go in your brain, in your mind. So you kind of stop, or you start to care less, And then you need to stay motivated. It's very important that you do in anything in life.
Of course.
I never forgot that what we were doing was for the people who wanted to learn and change the way they eat Italian.
Yeah.
Even if it was 800 views, even if it was 100 views, you don't have to look at the views.
Yeah, it had to be a reminder that we were inspiring others. So we started also, to think about other ways that we could reach people without necessarily, being through just the YouTube channel. So, not only was it about growing, obviously, other social media platforms, but we also started to get really involved in running like Italian style events for an array of events, for an array of clients. And that was really exciting because it also meant that we were able to kind of bring this kind of Italian feel and authenticity into people's lives. But it was face to face. And I think that probably for Vincenzo, that was another motivator because,
100%.
He was used to entertaining people. And so getting that reaction face to face is really important. And he didn't have that online. Like it was something that was almost kind of crazy. So, it almost created a little bit of additional clarity and justification that we were doing the right thing, and we whether it was on through video content or imagery or these events or cooking classes or sometimes even dinners, at home for people, we were able to inspire them and remind them that it was about keeping it simple, keeping the ingredients quality, but having a really good time doing it. It's always been about the experience and enjoying yourself as well as the food. They really go hand in hand to create what we want people to feel when they can't necessarily physically be in Italy. And that became even more important, I think, during the pandemic too.
100%. But like Suzanne said, even when we kind of stopped a little bit, or we were going like, okay, there's no motivation. Then you go out in Sydney or while traveling the world, and we had friends, because everyone's a friend on YouTube, stopping us.
Yeah.
because we also have 2 million followers on Facebook. I don't call it followers, foodie friends.
Yeah.
2 million on Facebook, and which is a platform that we love, Facebook.
Right.
It's really good because everyone is on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, TikTok, the blog, and then you have someone stopping you saying thank you so much. And I love this because I'm a person, I need to hug you. Lisa, right now, I'm suffering because I need to give you a hug, I have a warm personality and I suffer if I don't have the feeling. So sometimes.
Yeah, no, totally.
It doesn't help, So seeing these people, being able to feel, touch.
And seeing the excitement with people. Remember when we were in Sydney that night? We were out with some friends and you bumped into, I think he was from Texas.
Chicago, yes.
Yeah. We bumped into someone, like he just ran to Vincenzo and he recognized him straight away. And we had no idea. We just didn't know what was going on. And he was so excited because he had just made a meal from Vincenzo's plate for his friends, like the night before.
And he was in vacation.
And he was on vacation. And he was just blown away that Vincenzo was there. And I think that sometimes we didn't realize the impact that Vincenzo was making on people through food or through this experience. So there's been these, little but actually really big reminders along the way that, we're onto something here, we're doing something right, and it is making the difference. So we have to continually, be reminded of that and be motivated by it because it's a reality. So I guess in essence, having 1 million is like crazy still for us.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and
last week we went to Rome. We spent a week in Rome. 2 months ago, went to Bologna, went to Naples, and everywhere I went, we met tourists from around the world, Europeans, even Italians who stopped and said, "Oh my God, are you Vincenzo from the internet?" And I said, "Yeah." "Oh my God, wow, let's take a photo." And that was just beautiful. That was just nice to be able to share this moment with them,
Right.
And they're all nice people.
And
everyone is nice. Everyone is lovely. Everyone is beautiful.
They say it too. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I made your carbonara last week," or "I made your pomodoro." And we think, we're not. You're not just you're not just following. You're actually a part of that experience that we're trying to create here. Like you're making use of the content that we're creating, but it's becoming a real part of the family. You can have us over for dinner. Like we're just getting really excited. So I think that's where the tours really came about for us too, wasn't it? Because it was about a culmination of everything that we do, but keeping it super real and making it making that experience that we were creating online.
And we'll talk about the tours in a minute. I just want to go back a little bit, but Vincenzo, I can tell this just talking to you, but I want to say, when you started the channel, what was your mission and has it evolved?
Teach everyone how to cook. So I traveled the world with my previous job, and also because I like to travel. And I've been to places where you see Italian food, the restaurant, Italian food, and you look at the menu, you pay top dollars, and there is no Italian. An example in USA is Olive Garden. I just found out they have 900 restaurants. They charge whatever they charge, and they don't give you an Italian experience. So the restaurants like that kind of make me upset because Italy has so much to offer. Italian food is so different from the north to the south. Every city has so much to offer, and you can't just stop at the same dishes done the wrong way and charge top dollars. So the goal was and still is to teach you how to cook easy, delicious, authentic. You can put a twist, of course. If the twist can be added, following your flavors, but you have to follow the rules. There are rules. There's respect for the recipe and ways of doing it. So it's to teach everyone how it's done and how to do it at home, or even to know when they go to a restaurant. If you don't like to cook, you go to a restaurant, at least you know that the carbonara is not meant to have cream. If you want to make it at home, which I hope you do, it's just easy. You just need to buy easy ingredients. You can make dishes under $5 and feed the whole family. Like you don't have to go.
Yes. And I think that's the root of like some people say, Italian regional cuisine, because I always try through the magazine that we emphasize that. Because like you said, from the north to the south, it's very different. You have totally different cultures, different ingredients and things like that. It's important for us to educate ourselves. But I have to say that that's one thing that I've learned from you is reserving the pasta water. Yeah. And I don't like cream in food particularly, so it's been nice.
Because the cream, when I was a kid, I always wanted cream and cheese. But then eventually you grow and, my belly grows, you can't have cream all the time. And sometimes I see cream on lobster, I see cream on seafood, I see cream on meat. And if I buy lobster, which is very expensive, I don't want to cover the flavors with cream. I want to enjoy the lobster.
Yes.
Like I mentioned Cuba again. I went to Cuba 20 years ago, best holiday of my life. And I was eating lobsters every day, done the easiest way. Lobster, rice, a little bread. And that's priceless. That was priceless. So when you start adding cream on the sauce on top of beautiful ingredients, I think you're missing out. You're ruining. Unless your lobster is 3 years old, you want to cover the smell.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's what's been funny too, because we often get photos of menus from people that have pointed. I've said, no, I've told them at this restaurant, that's not how you make carbonara. Now, I won't be eating there again, or I can't eat this dish. So that's been funny whenever we see, something funny like peas and cream and carbonara normally.
Yes.
On menus. So we receive these photos from people that have visited restaurants in all different parts of the world that are, pointing out this is not the way you do it. Respect Italian tradition. If you're going to call it a carbonara, make it like a carbonara should be made. So that's been that's been kind of fun too to see.
It is, but at the same time, I follow people of other nationalities. So now, if I go to a Chinese restaurant,
of course,
I want to be able to say, okay, this is a fake Chinese restaurant. I'm not going or any other cuisines, because I don't want to go there and pay for something that is not real. I want.
You want to respect the tradition.
If I go to a Greek restaurant, I want that dish to take me to Greece. I don't want that dish to be creamy and fake just because people in the area like the cream. I want to enjoy the flavors.
Exactly. No, I totally
because
get
the
that.
food can really make you travel without travel.
Yes. Again, those authentic connections. You're so right. I really get that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that you do. You do offer courses in Australia, right?
Like cooking classes.
So we were doing that for a number of years, and including events as well. Lots of cooking classes with kids, and really enjoying that aspect of bringing Italian into people's lives in a different way. We haven't been doing it obviously so much with the pandemic having happened. We did still touch on it a little bit once things started to settle down, but it's not something that we're doing as much of at the moment, just because things are a little wild for us. It's crazy.
Thank God.
Yes. So, obviously the most important thing was after this delay during COVID, you were able to get back to Italy. And I noticed on your website that you offer these very intimate group experiences. So talk about that.
That's one of the best things that we do in life. It's so good.
Yes.
Spending 8 days with 10 foodie friends, exploring the region of Abruzzo. And it's nice because not many tourists come here. So the region is for us. Basically, we do whatever we want. We enjoy great food, great wine, nice weather, beautiful landscape. So it's honestly a beautiful place to be. And it's the unexplored Italy. Okay, everyone goes to Rome, Venice, Florence, Puglia, and you're surrounded by so many people waiting at the train stations, fighting for the taxi. Here it's not like that. Here you don't have the Colosseum, of course. You don't have the Pisa Tower.
And you don't have
taxis, you have a few. But what you do here is you really feel like you're a local. You meet the locals, people who don't speak English, people that want to welcome you home. You know, people give you the real Italian experience. Like I said, great food. Not having so many tourists, the quality of food, the quality of life is very high because Italians have high expectations. So if you don't serve good food, you close.
Yeah,
you know?
because they're catering to the locals essentially. So if if the locals aren't eating there, then nobody's going to.
Yeah.
So.
And we try to have fun as much as possible. Once this place become touristy, I'm not doing tours anymore. We need to find another area.
But do you want more tourists in Abruzzo? Do you want people, I mean, in the sense of not like, I'm not talking of busloads of people, but to get to know the side of your region that you want, like that you believe in?
I do, because I believe tourism brings economy. Economy brings, wealth and jobs opportunity.
Exactly.
I left Italy because maybe there was not enough opportunities, or maybe because I was not happy with the way it was going. And I think having tourism here, everything can grow. The younger generations have more opportunities, and there is plenty of room for people to come here.
We would just love to see it done in the right way. For us, our tours will always be small. It's not about bringing a bus of 25 people into town and being very regimented. Obviously, we have a schedule to follow and, a plan for each day and a time that we have to meet, but we're very, very flexible. And, sometimes we have a later night and sometimes we have an earlier morning, but for all round, it's about being that, a part of that family and experience what we know Italy to be, and nothing around that. It's eating very beautiful meals, but that after a couple of hours, it's not quickly dive into this restaurant and then quickly let's go over to this spot and then we've got a race over there. It's definitely not about that. It's by the end of the week, we're all normally in tears, and that's really genuine. Even we still get really, really emotional because we still can't believe that people, sort of for all the things that they can do all over Italy, sometimes this is their first time visiting Italy, and they make a conscious decision to come with us. And for me, I get blown away. We both get blown away every single time, but it makes me so emotional because I still can't believe it. The tours were something that Vincenzo and I spoke about well before Vincenzo's Plate started. It was something that we dreamt about doing. We were both here, we didn't have jobs. When we first moved back in, I feel like a lifetime ago, I don't remember what year was it, 2008? 2008. And so, we dreamt of bringing people here and showing them this beautiful slice of Italy. We never thought it would actually happen. So when Vincenzo's Plate started to kind of gain some traction, and we had these wonderful people from all over the world saying, gosh, I'd love to visit Abruzzo, your nonna seems wonderful, and gosh, where you're from seems really, really interesting. Then we realized that actually maybe it was the right time for us to invite people into our home, quite literally. And that's kind of what we did. And I don't know, it's still, for me, that's still like a big pinch me moment, because it's huge. Traveling is a big decision for a person on their own or for a family. Knowing that they, want to make that decision to kind of come with us for this experience is pretty incredible, and super special to us.
Very, 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 very special. And it's nice to know that we have Nonna, Nonna's still with us, still excited. During COVID, all she kept saying is, I want you guys to come back. I want to come on tour.
She really enjoys herself because she has seen, I guess, I don't know, like a different side of, I mean, she's obviously always appreciated Italy, but she sees a different side of that tourism part, and even inviting people into her home. And she gets emotional. Like, we've had people that have been following for a long time and obviously seen Vincenzo and Nonna in videos. And then when they meet, for many, it's like, regardless of their cultural background, it's like maybe reconnecting their loved ones, or their type of, that grandmother figure maybe in their life that, may not be around necessarily anymore. And they, cry, and then she cries, and then they have a meal together. And at the end of the night, of course, we're telling everyone.
Oh, you're going to make me cry just thinking about this. I'll stop.
But that's what is so incredible. Like, we talk about that generation that, isn't going to be around necessarily forever, and how much we need to be appreciating them now, but also in our own way, how can we kind of bring that into at least some part of our everyday life? Because that generation and the simple things that they enjoyed aren't a part of our everyday life necessarily anymore, because we've forgotten that they're important. So yeah,
love that.
Pretty
and
incredible.
if I can just interject, because we talked before we were on camera, the foundation of Live in Italy magazine is to really foster authentic relations through travel, not necessarily moving there permanently. We've talked to people who've done that. And I can say that one thing that we learned during the pandemic is also the importance of tourism in areas that are a little bit more remote or not as well known, is that, or even if you're in Rome, is to head out of the typical area, and rather than going to that popular name coffee place or whatever, go to those small businesses, because we found, and through our Instagram, which has grown, not as large as yours, but we were having, trying to just be able to support them, because some of these businesses didn't have websites or Instagram accounts. They don't know anything out of them. They obviously don't have the financial resources, and they were so dependent on foot traffic to get people into the restaurants that all of a sudden it just went away. So they had to do this. So, they started Instagram. And so we started just sharing that. And I always say, it's just a simple like and share. Like, what does that take out of your day? So yes, I love what you do, because, you're, like I said, you're embracing, and you're doing this naturally. This is your passion, but at the same time, you are, feeding this microcosm of a world that needs that in the future. So congratulations on the success of that, because you could easily, because of your popularity, turn this into something huge, right? And you choose not to, like the tours.
Yeah, that's a kind of a promise that we made from the beginning, that if it was ever going to turn into something too big, it was going to completely detract from what we intended to do in the first place. So we don't ever, to be fair, it may be the opposite that ends up happening. If we get to a point where things get incredibly busy, or our family grows, and things change in terms of priorities, maybe it's something that we won't be able to do forever, rather than making it so big that it's something that gets removed from us being able to manage it the way that we want to and control it in a way. Because the constant feedback is, oh my gosh, we never would have come to this place, in terms of like places that we may visit, if it wasn't for you guys to have brought us here. And that's the intention. There's probably not a lot of tourists walking around to a lot of the spots that we visit. Some of them are definitely a little more popular than others, but they're never going to be anywhere near what you may see in popular tourist destinations in other big cities in Italy. So yeah, I don't think we would ever do it.
No.
Yeah, it's just not the goal.
That's excellent. Well, as you know, you're part of the magazine, which is called Chat with an Expat. And it's funny, since it evolved, it was just a cute name, but there's been so many emotional reactions to the word expat. So Vincenzo, you are an expat in Australia. Can you, you don't have to use the word, but like some people are very like, I won't use that word, but how do you define it?
Look, being an expat, when you are an expat, you choose to be an expat. Yeah, I chose to go to Australia, stay there. So I'm happy there because I chose to be there. I need to adapt. I can't change the way it is. That's the way it is. I need to like it if I stay, and I like it. And I want to be, I am Australian. I have an Australian passport. I'm a citizen, and I want to live the Australian life. As an expat, you're always an expat. Doesn't matter. I could be 90, I will still be an expat when I'm there for the people who are there. And I think it's the same everywhere in the world. You're still seen as I'm not from there, I don't care about that. Me personally, I'm a happy expat in Australia, and I like the way I live, and everyone treats me well, and I like it. of course, you miss the family in Italy. I miss Italy, but thank God we come every summer. We spend a few months here. And at the moment, we're very lucky to be able to do this live. So I can live Europe, I can live in Australia, and be happy, you know? At the moment, I feel like an expat in Italy too, because I haven't lived here for so long, COVID, and I feel a stranger now in my own country. So I am confused. Maybe I need to go to Dubai. So I mean, I went, so maybe I feel home there. See, life change, you know, when you're an expat, because you think.
But I don't think we've ever just called ourselves expats.
Yes.
I think we've ever.
Well, you use the word. I like it.
Yeah,
I can pronounce it properly, so I say it.
That's funny. Yeah. And so what about you, Susanna? You've got your feet planted in both countries now. So how would you define it?
I guess I've never really thought about kind of a specific definition of the way necessarily that an expat would live. And I never really considered myself an expat because, as I mentioned much earlier on, my family origins are from Italy. So I've always felt, irrespective of my relationship with Vincenzo, I'd always felt a really close connection to Italy. Then obviously my closeness changed when we started to visit here a lot more often. I became a lot more a part of the community. I actually felt like I felt at home, you know, in a lot of ways here. It's always been a second home for me. And I want, you know, that's definitely what we would want for Sebastian as well. Like we would want him to feel like he has two homes and that's okay. And actually that he's really lucky that he gets to have that, because our culture is really, really important to us. But, you know, there are definitely things that I guess I miss from maybe Australia when I'm here, or maybe Italy when we're there. But not really. I mean, apart from the driving, I only started after 15 years of coming back to Italy every year, or apart from COVID, I'm finally driving. It's a big thing because in Australia we drive on the other side of the road, right? So it's been interesting.
And the roads are good.
I don't necessarily feel different. I feel like I belong when I'm here, and I feel like I belong when I'm in Australia. But I also link that to the way that we live our lives, and the importance that we have on certain things, and obviously the values that we share. I think that's something that starts at home. I sometimes still get called an American here. You know, I'm Australian, but
I don't get that one, but
I think it's just a foreigner that speaks English is an American for a lot of Italians.
Right.
So that's been interesting. But yeah, since I feel good that I can immerse myself in the culture here. I feel good about the fact that I've become a lot more confident speaking Italian, and can get around very independently and live my life the way that I'm, you know, very happy to here. I think we just feel really lucky to be able to be a part of both worlds. And
that's right.
Hopefully that's always the case. I think expats have got funny associations in some ways for people, but yeah, we just feel at home in both places.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
What's important is for Sebastian, you know, growing up.
That's right.
We live most of the time in Australia, so he needs to be Australian.
Yeah.
With an Italian
but never
touch.
Forget those traditions.
But you know, he needs to have family values. We want to teach him the basic, you know, to be a good person in the world, you know. But you know, hopefully he can adapt here and there, and
he's definitely got a passion for food. So
that's food, He's any cuisine. I think in Australia it's got more options for different cuisine,
international.
So you can eat everything. But yeah, that's what's important now, you know. That he's happy, he grows in an open-minded world.
Yeah, I think that the fact that both of us are really open-minded has also allowed us to adapt pretty easily, whether we're in Australia or in Italy, depending on what kind of we're facing.
Yeah,
I think keeping an open mind, right, too. And I will say there'll be a bit of a delay between, the time that the article is published, but the video that you made last night was, or you published last night, I know you didn't make it last night, was what I hate and love about Italy. And I encourage you to, especially any of our readers who are thinking about moving to Italy, it was really good to kind of shed light on some of the realities. And that's part of your life as an expat. And we've learned that from expat is like, don't take your American ways and expectations into Italy and expect to be happy. You have to be able to kind of take a step back and not get frustrated by some of these things that are they like we talk to people who've done home renovations, and it just doesn't happen like a home renovation in the US. It happens, but not the same way.
Absolutely. There's an element of frustration in certain things. Like for us, even obviously we run, our business is based in Australia, but we work remotely. Like we obviously work quite a lot while we're here. So there are elements of maybe planning and organizing and communication that can get tricky even for us. And I mean, we communicate quite simply, but you just have to kind of go with it.
Go with it. Yeah.
And like you said, be aware of it. So you just kind of come here being aware, and figure it out on your own.
You just need to learn where you go, people are. For example, if we're in Australia and I want to do a renovation, for example, it's all about how much you pay. It doesn't matter, you speak. Of course, you need to be respectful, but you just pay. It's all about money. But I'm not saying, like in this type of countries, you just need to pay. Here, people don't care about the money. Of course they do, but they care more about the respect, the way you speak to them, the way you approach. So I can't just go to someone. You can't talk about Americans. You're American, and you come here and say, hey, give me here 300 euro, give me this. They don't do it for you. Different. Like it's not like, okay, you pay, I'll do it. No. People here, they want the courtesy, they want you to be nice, they want you to have a feeling, a connection. Maybe they will do it for free. Like they want the connection.
But I think that handshake is still really important,
In a way, it is.
Kind of gestures and conversations and the way you communicate that will get your message across in a way that is a lot more important here, we feel, than it would necessarily happen elsewhere. That is sometimes still really surprising. Like the generosity here, I think, is second to none.
But if I call you now and I say, sorry to interrupt, sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, finish.
It's okay.
Oh, it's okay.
Like if I need a help now for something urgent, okay, and I call you here, and you're busy for a month, you can't come, okay. So if I approach it a nice way, humanity is beautiful here. The human is so important, being a human, and the respect and being nice. If I call you and say, hey, I give you whatever you want, you need to come here now, this person will never come. Doesn't matter. You can give them €1 million. They don't come. But if I call in a way and I make you feel bad with my situation and I explain what it is, and we become friends, and people have sympathy, and I make you feel like they will find a way to come even today.
Yeah, people really go out of their way to help.
And what I'm trying to say here is you don't have to call everyone and say, oh my God, you need to come here, look people in the eyes, say buongiorno, say buonasera. Make them feel special. Even going to a restaurant, you don't sit and say, hey, can we sit here? Here are the money. People want you to say good morning, what do you suggest, and have a chat, because that's what people really believe, that people are worth more than money, like here you need to
it's conversation
really
and communication. And what's been really nice in another sense is and definitely wouldn't happen in Australia the way that it happens here. Like we might go to a restaurant, for example, with Sebastian, and he's our only child at the moment. And there may be another family that also have children. Mm-hmm. If the children start talking to each other, the family is really happy for them to kind of just go off and have a play. I don't feel like that really happens in Australia. There's a little bit of a maybe a coldness in some way. Definitely doesn't exist here. Like it's very friendly. You always say hello to people. You look each other, like Vincenzo said, you kind of look each other in the eyes, and it's very warm. So, we went to there was a public holiday recently, and we went to a national park, and Sebastian was obviously with us. He was off playing with other families' children all day that we'd never met before. And that was fine.
Mhm.
And we will never see again.
And we'll never see them again.
And we're best friends for the day.
Yeah, and that's really nice.
Yeah.
Nothing to prove. We have nothing to show.
I really don't feel like that happens.
It wasn't about what car I have or what
was.
house I have. Everyone was the same.
Yeah, it was just
playing,
a nice
fun.
environment, and I think that was really, that for me is very like quite a foreign concept. Australia, people don't really communicate with people they don't know when you go out. Particularly
I totally identify with that. Like when I'm communicating with people in Italy, I said it's no stereotype. We don't talk to our neighbors. And it's like terrible when you think about
but
it.
But here we share, we have people on the same street. You don't say hello to everyone. But we don't know them, we don't say hello. But they want to say hello. They look at us and say, why don't say hello?
But it's funny how I adapt though when I come here. Like, so I'll, Sebastian still has a day nap. So if we're out for the day, we might take him for a walk in the pram. So like we can get him out and hopefully get him down for a nap. And if there are people on the street, or the other day it happened, I didn't even say anything to you. There was this nonna, like so cliche, but it honestly happened. There was this nonna just kind of, out the window, like she was just looking out the window, and so I just waved and said buongiorno, because that's just what you do here. Like I would never do that to someone else.
People think you're crazy. Yeah, I do that here. I say hello to people in an elevator and they look at me.
Yeah, and it's like,
what do you want from me?
But then they automatically think, oh, do I know you? And then they feel really bad. And then whereas here it's just like, oh, hi, you just kind of say hi to everyone.
But at the same time, we need to say this. We need to make it clear. It's not everywhere in Italy, Australia, or USA.
Yeah.
We're talking about a smaller village, a smaller town, a more community. Like if you go to Rome, nobody cares about you. If you go to Milan, same. If you go to Sydney, it's the same.
Yeah.
If you go to a small town in Australia, it's different. So I don't want to, we generalize.
Yeah, we are generalizing.
If you go in your town where you're now, maybe people are friendly. If you go to New York, nobody looks at you.
But in terms of generalizing, I still wouldn't, in most places in Australia, walk down the street and just say hi to a lady looking out the window.
Hello, but of course, it's different. But that's why it's nice to travel, because everybody's
Of course. No, definitely.
And make you feel comfortable, and you want to be, you're happy there, So for sure, I miss that about Italy. That fact that you friends every day.
It's our Italy.
Which comes to our almost next and final question, which is I love to ask because I get the funniest answers. Besides friends and family, what do you miss most? And I guess in the case of Vincenzo, it might be, what do you miss about Italy? Obviously, Suzanne, I guess you could pick either. It could be, what do you miss about Italy when you go back to Australia? Or what do you miss about Australia when you're in Italy? So your choice. So let's start with Vincenzo.
I miss the food, simply because Italian food doesn't exist. Italian food is city by city or regional, whatever you want to call it. So it's so different. And I'm coming here, I eat everything. I eat all the. Coming here, I really miss the real Italian food. Even if my nonna or family is not here, that experience, I can go to the city and eat.
So the variety.
Regional cuisine, that variety. I do miss the nature that we have here and that connection I have to the nature, which I love. And I miss the humanity, like this importance. Like I went to Naples in May, and I felt the most alive person in my life.
Yeah, you loved it.
Yes,
it never happened anywhere in Europe. Okay, the only way I felt that way was when I went to Havana in Cuba. Like honestly, everyone is on top of you. Everyone is excited. Everyone has lived life. Everyone is like partying 24 hours a day, joyful 24 hours a day. Everyone is there to make the most of it, and you don't feel it anywhere. And that's something I will miss. I love Australia, and it's amazing, this freedom and everything works. You can do whatever you want, great opportunities that you don't have here. Because here, maybe you don't have the freedom. Everyone wants to know what you do, everyone looks at you. But Italy, I think, has so much to offer in terms of food. The landscaping is so different and beautiful. You never get bored. The lifestyle, the life, people say, people have the siesta, which doesn't happen anywhere in Italy anymore.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's beautiful to have a siesta, because the person that work can go home for 3 days for lunch, stay with the
3 hours.
family,
3
3 hours,
Yeah.
and then go back to work for 3 hours a night and still have a time to go out for dinner or have a gelato. So I see that as great life for the worker who works all day long.
Yes.
At the same time, they have time to go out to have a nice meal with the family. They work more than us, but they still have
Yes.
time to enjoy life. So that's something I appreciate.
Right.
And that's why you come here and everyone is slow and relaxed. It makes you go slow too, you know?
Right. Very
That's
good
something
point.
that I miss. I'm sure I miss more, but
Do you miss anything from Australia?
what I do, well, I miss the freedom. I miss my peace. I miss the system. I miss the diversity of people. You know, that we have so many nationalities and everyone is together. Miss the fact that I can go out and find cuisines from all over the world, and the way it is, the countries, everything is clean, everything is pristine. The traffic light is, people respect the green and red light.
Yes.
People park properly,
The pedestrian crossings.
Yeah. What about you, Suzanne?
Yes.
No, I think I think it's a really hard question because I kind of enjoy the way that we built the life that we have, but there's definitely, the family, the friends, and the food go without saying either way. So, that part aside, I think what Vincenzo touched on in terms of simplicity and the way to enjoy the day-to-day is definitely something that I don't feel like we have as much in Australia. Look, everybody rushes everywhere in the world because everybody's busy and everyone's got a lot on, and everybody's got a full-time job and all of those sorts of things. But even though it's the same here, there's that simplicity, like Vincenzo said. They still make time to go out for dinner or to have a gelato or to go for a walk with a friend or to quickly stop by and have a coffee. I love that here. You can go into a bar, have a quick coffee, hug a good friend, and that's the way that you catch up. Sometimes we have to plan with friends and family 2 to 3 months in advance to see each other in Australia.
Yeah.
And in some ways it's because the mentality is that way. I'm really busy, so I have to be organized. It's just more spontaneous here. We sometimes struggle with that, to be spontaneous. So I think that we try really hard to adapt if we can or when we can. Having a child in the mix can make things tricky too. But I feel like that's probably something that we definitely don't have in Australia that I miss here. That the simplicity and the trying to just enjoy and catch up when you can. And then, the reverse of that is definitely the discipline. I hate driving here. Like, I can't handle
Yeah.
I can't handle the road. So that really, it still freaks me out, driving around corners. But I have had some really fun experiences driving, I have to say that now, in terms of just places they let you drive here, because there are these crazy narrow archways that, it's the only way to get into some of these small towns, and they let the. And I remember the first time I did it, I was with Vincenzo's mum in the car and Sebastian. And I said to her, I'm not going to make it. And she said, what are you talking about? I said, I can't fit through this archway. And she said, oh, of course you can. There's nothing to worry about here. And then we laughed because she's been to Australia, so she's seen how wide the roads are.
Right.
And so then after we did finally make it, there was no issue at all. She said, you're just not used to it because your roads are so big, but you'll fit everywhere here. Otherwise, they wouldn't let the cars through. And I just laughed because I thought, oh,
that's hilarious. And we'll link that video because you put a picture of that. And Vincenzo says, when you're walking, in the cities, be careful. And it's so funny because when we were in Rome, what we used to do, because I was petrified to cross the road. And a couple of times we walked across kind of hitching the ride beside a group of nuns because I figured they're not going to hit nuns.
We'll go with that. I like that.
No, you did the right thing.
Yeah, you did. It's probably definitely a good trick.
It was scary, but I guess you get used to it. So where do you see yourselves, the channel, or yourselves personally in the next 10 years?
Oh my gosh. Making jam. That's what we said the other day, isn't it?
Making jam and wine.
I think, yeah,
okay, well, I love wine.
we'd love to have a place that's probably ours somewhere in Italy to have people connect, but also to have to live the simple life too.
Like I want to have.
I think.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I think it's about us living the life that we talk about so much, but a little bit more maybe making it our own. You know, having probably property here among
in Abruzzo, you're talking about, yeah.
Probably in Abruzzo, maybe in Abruzzo, or somewhere else, but definitely somewhere that is not about being amongst tourist life,
right.
but definitely about being, you know, having that lovely slow life and connecting with just where we are, enjoying ourselves. You know, we haven't thought about 10 years.
Look, for sure, we'll be living in Australia for sure now as we speak. Because is growing up, so we have to go. We have to go to school. And
there's remote learning.
For a few months, but to be realistic, he's gonna go to school and we'll be there, and we live there. That's our life. You know, we got dreams too. You know, to buy buy the house, dream house there. If we work hard, you want to buy a house on the beach, maybe, or and have that lifestyle. But coming here, like our plan is to do 3 months, like.
In that regard.
If we escape, so our dream is to do 9 months in Australia, 3 months here.
Right, like the summer months.
We can have a normal life there, and otherwise I go crazy if I do 6 months here, 6 months there. You need to have a stable life.
So this is the first year we've done that. We've never done it before.
So if we do 9 months there and 3 months here, when we're here for 3 months, it will be beautiful to have a house on the hills, looking at the ocean. One side, look at the ocean. The other side, look at the mountains. You can do it in Abruzzo.
Yes.
B&B, so we have, 9, 10 rooms, beautiful rooms. We live in there as well. Plus we can have a cooking school. We can have vineyards, olive trees, maybe a horse or two. And that would be like a farmhouse, vineyard.
Nice.
A vineyard that we make wine to sell, but like having a little Italian dream, When I make jam, when I say jam, we make jam with wine, like we make wine jam. Like something like that. And that would be nice. You come here for 3 months and you have that B&B that maybe you can run during the year as well, but have that connection. Like if my family won't be around, like my nonna, I don't know if she will be around in 10 years, but we have that will remind me where she started her life, in the countryside.
Love it.
And keep doing what she did.
Of course.
That would be lovely, That would be a connection to Italy. I hope we can do it. If not, hopefully someone else will, so we can
yes. You have a place to. I'm sure you will. That
would be nice,
When it comes to the channel, I think that we wouldn't imagine not having it. We would just be sharing. The content will probably evolve in the same way that it has over the last several years. And just adapt to the way that we're living our life, and we'd always be sharing recipes and traditions, and maybe a different form of reaction video. But that I think it's become such a big part of our life now that we see it continuing.
To film videos in this farmhouse, hopefully we can.
That's what I mean. So it's
and one of my dreams now is to build our own studio kitchen in Australia too. That's what we're working on. So that's something that we
can share a lot easier.
Have more fun and have our own kitchen. That's it's beautiful. That would be nice to have our own.
That would be amazing.
In 10 years, I don't know, maybe. I think that's enough.
I think that's a big dream.
I think that's enough. But we don't have to plan our life away. It's just like to know if you have any goals or anything like that, or where you'd want to live. But it sounds like you still want to continue with the best of both worlds.
I think it's nice for now,
Yeah, I think so. I think we still see both countries as a huge part of our lives. So
Right.
See that changing. We just have to figure out the best way to do it, because the seasons are also different in Australia. So the summer season here is winter over there. So it's not actually a holiday period. But we'll figure that out.
We're actually escaping the winter.
Yeah, we like ideally, we just never have to worry about winter again.
We haven't been in winter or over. Well, with COVID, we did. Otherwise,
that was the first winter we've had in Australia for like years.
We escaped the winter, so we just live under the sun.
Love it. Living under the sun. That's perfect. Well, in wrapping, it's been a delight. In wrapping this up, I don't know, Suzanne, Vincenzo, you're so easy to find. Like, just look up Vincenzo's plate. But for the sake of putting the links below, tell us how to find you.
Thank you. You can find us on YouTube, Vincenzo's Plate, Facebook, which we love, Instagram, TikTok, and the website, Vincenzo's Plate, and also something on Pinterest. We need to post more. But yeah, vincenzosplate.com, everything is there. That's the head office, headquarters, all the recipes are there, info about the tours.
Yeah.
Soon to be renovated. And we're also launching a cookbook, so stay tuned, because that's our next.
Okay. We'll keep it posted, and like we'll update the article and everything like that. Would love to know. Yeah,
that's in the 10-year plan.
That's in the but it should be in the 6-month plan.
Yeah.
Excellent. That is great. Well, we are Live in Italy magazine, easy to find, www.liveinItalyMag.com, and on all forms of social media as well, Live in Italy Mag. So take the azine part out. And again, it was a pleasure, absolute pleasure. And you've made so many videos, like, but I enjoy. Cooking is my weekend thing, takes me away from the computer and everywhere else. I look for, I was going to ask you one thing before we wrap up. In your pizza, authentic pizza recipe, you call for natural yeast.
Yes.
And I can't find that, not even on Amazon. So do you suggest that people just use whatever they have at hand and
It's the same problem we have in Australia. We do now because during COVID, everyone made pizza and bread. It's a bit easier. But to be honest, the dry yeast does the same job. It's pretty good.
It does a good job too.
All you have to use is half teaspoon of dry yeast. You mix it with a little bit of water and then you put it in the mix. Because the dry yeast does a good job, but not too much. The secret for a good pizza, even bread, is to use less yeast. Have a natural fermentation and you enjoy the flavors, you know? So half teaspoon, it's more than enough.
Right. So if you haven't yet already, please subscribe to their channel. Let us know if you make any of the recipes. I'm anxious to know. So again, a pleasure having you. Congratulations on all your success. I look forward to seeing where you go in the future as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks. It was lovely to chat with you. We appreciate your time.
See you soon.
Yeah, bye. Until the next time. Bye.
Bye.